Whether you're a hopeless romantic, a fairy tale addict, or just a nerdy historian, castles must have been the subject of your fantasies at some point. Castles have never been accessible to the general public, but today, things are a little more different. If you're planning a castle escapade for your next voyage, you'll find the top 10 most luxurious ones in this video. If you want to feel like a princess in a tower or a knight in dazzling armor, then Ashford Castle in Ireland's County Mayo is the place to go. The castle, located in a magnificent 350-acre estate on the gorgeous shores of Loch Corrib, has magnificent interiors bursting with ancient furniture, fine fabrics, and distinctive details at every turn. Guests can experience renowned Irish hospitality on a large scale at the 82 magnificent rooms, suites, and the Hideaway Cottage, as well as a variety of activities. Accommodation at Ashford Castle is ideal for classy, special gatherings, family vacations, and romantic getaways, thanks to the superb restaurants and variety of activities nearby. Although it appears to be 1314 from the outside, the interior is just as opulent and extravagant. You can expect unmatched service and 5-star elegance at the majestic 5-star Ashford Castle, a member of leading hotels of the world and a part of the Red Carnation Hotel Collection. What's more, this castle can be explored on more than just a day trip. In fact, you can remain here. It must be among the most opulent hotels in all of Europe. It won't be cheap to spend the night at Ashford Castle, but how often does one get to sleep in a castle? You'll experience Sleeping Beauty herself when you visit the UC Castle in France's Loire Valley. According to Tales of a Backpacker, Charles Perrault was inspired to pen his well-known fairy tale about the sleeping princess by this particular castle. It unmistakably resembles the kind of castle that fits in children's literature with its imposing facade. The castle was primarily intended as a stronghold in the Middle Ages, but it eventually became a luxurious dwelling. Visitors are welcome in the dungeon and a few of the other chambers. I'm sure they'll be looking forward to your glorious entrance. The Lumilina Ice Castle in Finland is as distinctive as they come. This castle is definitely more frozen than Sleeping Beauty. To draw in people, it is rebuilt every year with a new design. Even though you'll feel like royalty as you tour the magnificent castle, you won't be cozy unless you also pack your thermals. This winter wonderland is the world's largest snow fort and provides visitors with lodgings that are entirely constructed of ice and snow. Even the furnishings are constructed from ice. Elsa would be thrilled. There are many magnificent locations in northern Italy that are virtually unchanged from the Middle Ages. The picturesque Malcasine Castle is located in the charming village of Malcasine, which is close to Lake Garda. The castle's full name is Castello Scalagero, and it is situated next to Monte Baldo, the area's tallest mountain. The structure was a medieval stronghold when it was first created in 568 AD. The opulent castle is so charming that it even served as inspiration for the famed Austrian painter Gustav Klimt. The good news is that you can get married here every year between April and October. The German town of Schwangau is home to the Neuschwanstein Castle, arguably one of the most well-known fairy tale castles in existence. Although many consider this Bavarian masterpiece to be the pinnacle of a German castle, the castle was only recently constructed in the late 1800s at King Ludwig II's request. Regardless, it is without a doubt one of the most beautiful castles in the world. The Bavarian monarch commissioned his architects to create a fantasy as large as Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland, but with the snow-covered Alps as a backdrop and scattered beneath. This was to be a reflection of both Richard Wagner's operas and the romantic ideals of the Middle Ages. Neuschwanstein is also well known in the film industry, having appeared in a number of movies throughout the years, including The Great Escape and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Moreover, the Sleeping Beauty Castle in Disneyland today was modeled after this particular castle. Walt Disney said it was good enough, so it must be good enough for us too. The castle is one of the most well-liked sites in Bavaria, so make sure to purchase your tickets well in advance. Even if there isn't a throne in the Great Throne Room, guests still like seeing it. A bit of history itself can be seen when seeing Denmark's Kronborg Castle. Because the city of Helsingør sounds remarkably similar to Hamlet's Elsinore, it is thought that the famous playwright William Shakespeare had this castle in mind when he wrote Hamlet. You may watch local actors perform several scenes from the play at this opulent castle. The Ghost of the Monarch, which was produced utilizing technology, is another amusing option. He will appear and explain how he was killed. Keep the chills and goosebumps for your next visit. Even though it is less well known than Neuschwanstein Castle, Liechtenstein Castle is another magnificent German castle that you can see. It would be wise to go before the tourists learn about this undiscovered gem. The castle was just constructed in the middle of the 19th century, despite being constructed in the Gothic style. However, in its stead stood a medieval fortress. The castle is perched atop a sizable rock, which gives the interior breathtaking views. You can view antique armor and weaponry on display inside. This particular castle is one that has really stood the test of time. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, then you really need to travel to Croatia's Lavrajanek Castle at least once in your lifetime. This massive fort served as the Red Keep at King's Landing in the television series. The famous castle in Europe has a view of the Mediterranean Sea, which has the appearance of a crystal. Shakespeare's plays have recently been performed inside the stronghold, which gives them an even more genuine setting. However, Game of Thrones, which was shot in the city for the duration of the program, has been Dubrovnik's main appeal in recent years. Edinburgh Castle is Scotland's most famous paid tourist destination for a reason. The most besieged site in Britain, Edinburgh Castle is perched at the end of the Royal Mile on an ancient volcanic rock and has endured at least 26 significant assaults in its 1100 years. Numerous well-known Britons like Mary Queen of Scots, Oliver Cromwell, and Sir Walter Raleigh are inextricably linked to the old structure. The castle consistently draws large numbers of visitors and keeps them coming back, since it is filled with historical artifacts, treasures, numerous exhibits, a study center, gift stores, and even 2 restaurants. The Honours of Scotland, one of Britain's oldest crown jewels, are kept safe inside a castle. The castle is an absolutely perfect location for the yearly Royal Edinburgh military tattoo. Also, the castle's dog cemetery has the graves of former military mascots. While it is not possible to spend the night at the castle, you may imagine what it must have been like for the several royals who have done so throughout the years. Throughout the year, a variety of events are held inside the walls, including music concerts, historical reenactments, and weapon displays. It is definitely one of the top locations in Edinburgh for discovering Scotland's interesting past. King Carol I ordered the construction of a neo-Renaissance-style castle in the sleepy village of Sinaya in the 1860s after becoming mesmerized by the alluring Busagi Mountains. According to Travel Pulse, the castle is constructed in the neo-Renaissance style and is surrounded by breathtaking mountain views. The 160 rooms at the Royal Summer Residence each have a unique motif. For instance, the theater on the property exudes a vibe of a storybook with magnificent frescoes by Austrian artists Franz von Matsch and Gustav Klimt clinging to the walls and the roof. There are many historic castles in Romania, including the renowned Bran Castle, which some people think was the genuine Dracula's castle. If you prefer charming to frightful, visit Paley's Castle in the country's Muntenia region. The magnificence of the castle will leave you breathless by just standing outside. Wonder what would happen when you eventually get in. These castles are just as magnificent and luxurious as they appear in fairy tales. Which one would you be visiting next? Let us know in the comment section.